Well, good night, everyone. Hello, Elisa. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, we
Good
both
night,
are a little sick,
everyone.
right? We got the flu
Yes,
ourselves, and
yes. I
then,
hope not the same
uh,
one. Not
what can I
COVID,
say,
I
right?
guess.
Yeah, uh, we're both doing some extra time here because
Hmm.
we are not so good. Of course, my earphones are not working, as always. Just a second.
Okay.
All right. So then I think now the magic is happening. Okay, okay. So, good night, everyone. This is Mao here. Uh, one more time. Oops, I'm sorry. One more time, live here in the Deploy's YouTube channel. Okay, good night to everyone. I think there are some people here already, Elisa. Let me see how. Noelle is here. Nobody has to know that she works with Deploy, right? Same as
Hello,
Guto.
Noel.
Okay, nobody. I'm not telling anyone. Okay, Guto. Nobody knows that I work at Deploy. Flavio, the man. Hello, my friend. You see, the guys were already here before we even started, Elisa.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay, okay, okay.
we're
Cool.
live ones. Okay. So, tell us a little about the mushrooms in the shirt.
No, they're just
Are those mushrooms?
yes, they are the mushrooms, and they're just cute, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what kind of mushrooms they are. I'm not very familiar with mushrooms.
Since they are not poisonous, we're
I don't
fine, right?
know. This is not on the script,
Uh,
okay? I don't know. No, I don't
yeah,
know
no, no,
anything
definitely
about
not on
mushrooms.
this way.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no, 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 no mushrooms. They're just cute mushrooms.
yeah. All right. So, guys, we are live here once again, going to 3 minutes now. Good night to everyone. This is Deploy's channel, as I was saying. I'd like to make a quick introduction before we start talking about what is exactly the daily routine of a UX researcher, right, Elisa? So, you're the right person to tell us all about it. But first of all, look who's here. It's Vitor. He is here in Portugal, somewhere. He
Is he
doesn't
here
tell anyone
already?
where. Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
As far
no.
as I can tell, he's here.
I knew he
Okay,
was
not
coming, but
living
I didn't
yet. Not
know.
living yet. We've been
Okay,
talking
cool.
about places to live and stuff. Yeah.
Welcome.
So, getting back to this, okay. So, Deploy, guys, everyone. Deploy is a company, a Brazilian company, which nowadays has a basis here in Portugal, and we are used to help companies to find the best UX designers that they can find to build or grow their design teams. Okay, and we've been doing this for a little time now, like 5 or 6 years, and we've learned a lot until now. We have a lot of stories to tell and things to tell you all about the recruitment processes regarding UX designers. Okay, so we have, as every other area of the world, ups and downs. It's so nice most of the time, and some other times not so much, because companies change, the markets, it's a wave, it's hard to tell, and people are firing other people. As at the same time that the people are hiring more people, so it's all like changing every time, all the time, and our job is to stay in the wave, to drop the wave, and to help people connect. Okay, because after all, our job is not to make automated matches. Okay, we don't do chat gpt or open ai or whatever ai, Elisa, when it comes to hiring. Okay, our processes
Mhm.
are still completely human. We still call people, talk to people, to real people, you know and then we make the connection, we help, we mentor most of the candidates that we present to companies. We mentor them, and we bring the context of the company and what exactly they are after when it comes to hire. So after doing this human job, then and only then the interview happens, and then and instead of bringing 50 people for the same opportunity, we bring five, three, and then the company chooses two and hires one. So it's a very seamless process, and sometimes it's very quick, Some other times not so quick as we wanted it to be. Okay, but still we are doing this. We love what we do, and I always say that, Elisa, in lives that we see the sparkling eyes in the UX designers. So I don't
Mm.
see much of that in other areas. You don't see an accountant with sparkling eyes, right?
I don't.
Do you see? No, I don't. you know so I can tell that people love what they do, right?
Yeah, I have
Yeah,
I have something about this. One of my greatest fears in life is that my child, which is 4 right now, wants to be an
yeah.
accountant or something like that. I,
Really?
I'm giving her
No
all,
sparkling eyes, not
no
whatsoever.
sparkling.
No.
Please don't be an accountant.
Yes, I'm gonna show you the world and then you can choose.
Yeah.
Okay, but let me show you the world first. I say that, guys, because my father and my mother are accountants.
Oh,
And
it's the
they
same.
are happy. They are living happily ever after. Okay, but with no sparkling
No
eyes.
sparkling.
That's for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no shining. There's no crying. Why? Wear a T-shirt saying I love what I do. I love UX. Those kind of stuff. You don't
Yeah.
see an accountant with one of those in their wall, right? I love accounting. No, I've never seen such a thing. Okay. So introductions made. Elisa, tell us a little about you. Who are you? What are you doing
Okay.
here? And good night.
Good night. Good night, everyone. Oh, Peña. Glad to see you here. I'm Elisa.
Yeah.
I've been working with UX since 2005. I studied journalism in Brazil, and and one of my first jobs was as a usability analyst. And then I found out I really liked talking to people, but as a shy person, it wasn't very easy at the beginning. But I realized that once I had the script, it was really much easier. So thank you for the script for this live. It makes things better, much better,
Easier.
much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. And wow. Yeah. And I've been living in Portugal for 6 months, I think. I just came here with my
Still
family, but
pretty fresh.
yeah, yeah, my first winter, European winter. So I'm,
Ah, you won in the lottery, because this is the
yeah,
worst winter
yeah,
ever. It
nice,
rained all
nice
the
for me.
time.
Yeah, I
Jesus,
know, I know.
I don't know when did this all this water came from, right?
Yeah, yeah, but good to know that it doesn't, it isn't not like this all the time, right? Because I
Yeah,
was
no,
thinking,
it's not.
oh,
No.
do I have to go
Yeah,
through this all the time? But
yeah,
good to
yeah.
know, good to know. So yeah, and I'm still working for Brazil, so I have friends in Brazil. Everyone's there, so I'm working remotely.
Nice. There's a lot of people, guys. I'm sure you know this. That there's a lot of Brazilian people, just like Elisa, that is living in here, living in Portugal or other countries in Europe, and still working for Brazil.
Yeah,
And this shows us a little something, right, about the market, Elisa, because at least here
mm,
in Portugal, we don't see half of the maturity that the UX market has in
yeah,
Brazil.
huh?
It's so much different. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I was like actually looking into it, and I got involved in the Ladies at UX in Lisbon,
yeah,
and I've noticed that there are not as many companies doing like UX design and UX research in particular. We still see a lot of consulting companies and stuff. So
yeah,
uh, yeah, Brazil is much bigger anyway. So I don't know if
yeah,
it's something about the size or the maturity. I'm
yeah.
not sure. What can you
I,
say about that?
I, yeah, in my opinion, Elisa, I think
Mm.
it's a cultural thing. You
Yeah.
know, you don't
Mm.
see almost any YouTuber that talks about UX in Portugal.
Uh,
I know
really?
nobody.
Maybe Brazil
You know,
loves you too because we have lots of YouTubers. They make a lot of
right?
success in
And
Brazil, in Portugal,
as
right?
well. Yeah, that's for sure. I have a
Yeah.
bunch of friends here now. This is my fourth year
Mm.
here in Portugal, and then I already know a lot of Portuguese people, Portuguese
Cool.
families, and they say that they used to look up to Brazilians when it comes to be creative,
Mm.
when it comes to not having anything that stops you from doing what
Mm.
you want to do.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
why not starting a YouTube channel?
Hmm.
And then people just go, when they see, they first they go and then they see what they can do about it. It's like Tony Stark used to say, sometimes you have to run before you can walk, right?
I have no idea you're talking about. I don't know about anything. Tony Stark. Okay,
You're
but
not a Marvel fan. Okay,
no,
okay.
not really, not superhero stuff. But I'm a okay.
All right. Let me show you some guys here, Elisa. Lucas. Hello, Lucas. How are you, man? Vitor. I've come to stay. Wow. That's huge, man. I was thinking that you were just passing by, but you're not. Okay.
He's one of
There's
them.
another Elisa here.
There's another. That's my other
That's your
alter
other
ego. Yeah,
self.
yeah.
You know,
I
like,
just love chat. That's all.
it's an alter ego. All right. Maya, hello, Maya.
Hello, Maya.
Felipe, hi, Felipe. Tiago, do you know Tiago?
I do. He's from Loft as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, and
Oh,
also Philippines.
nice.
And I
Loft
met Maya
guys.
last week at one of the. We have like I don't know. I forgot the word in English. A rendezvous. How do you say?
Rendezvous.
No. How do you say rendezvous in English? And,
I don't know. someone,
it's an
someone help.
encontro. Like we go
An
every
encontro. Yeah.
week and meet at
A
Starbucks.
hangout. A hangout.
A hangout, yeah, it's a hangout.
Yeah.
We meet every week at Starbucks at 7. Ladies that UX, or if you're a lady and you do UX,
Nice.
come talk to us at Starbucks at Rocio Station. So I met Maya there. Yeah,
Wow. That's nice.
that's for
I
girls,
miss
okay?
Starbucks, Elisa.
You
I'm a
do?
fan. You can see that, right? There's Starbucks
Yeah, there's a
here,
oh,
Starbucks there. I'm a
yeah.
brand guy. So if the brand pleases me, I don't care about the product. It could be
Okay,
trash,
cool.
but still, I'd buy it. I love Starbucks. Yeah. All right. So introductions made. Let's get to it, Elisa. We
Okay,
are
cool.
2 minutes up and 12 minutes up. I'm sorry. And then
Hmm.
it's time for us to start the subject that we are here for, right? So
Okay,
tell us what exactly is that a UX designer researcher does for
okay,
starters.
okay,
Okay.
okay, cool.
Before even telling what exactly you do in the daily basis, first we have to
Okay,
understand what exactly do you do, right?
okay.
So tell
So,
us, tell us.
well, so I'm a UX researcher, and I've been a UX researcher for a while. I've also done other stuff in my life. I've been an interaction designer for a brief time in my life. Or actually, we were called like uh, information architects, but that was
Yeah.
something that we don't use anymore. And but we were actually designers. But most of my life, I've done research. Even when as I was an entrepreneur, I was doing research as well. As a UX researcher, I would love to say that I do research all the time, but that's not true. I have
Really?
to do lots of other things,
Yeah.
and yes, because I'm higher up right now, and I've come from a specialist. Now I'm a principal UX researcher. I also need to take care of the rest of the team, define processes, and we take care of research ops and tools we use. We also have a research ops person there, of course, but I'm getting ahead. So, what does a UX researcher do? So you have generalists, UX designers, UX UI designers, product designers, whatever you call it, and you have specialists. I'm in the middle of the specialists, and we have like at Loft, let me say, we have three different specializations, if you wish. So we have UX research, service design, and content design. So researchers are the ones who do most of the research, but we also act as as a support for people who want to do research by
Mm,
themselves. We're
yeah.
not the only ones who do research. So
Yeah.
designers can do research as well. People from marketing do research. People from CX, and we help them with tools, templates, and sometimes we build research scripts together. We help recruiting and so on. And uh, it's funny because our job sometimes is to show people that anyone can do research, not just us. We just do it easier because we know better. We have more experience in things, and we take the most difficult projects.
Hmm.
Usually, we take those ones, and the easier ones, they will just let people do it by themselves, and so on. And any questions? Am I being that as specific as you'd like? Tell me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, I this is one of the things that I wanted to ask you, Elisa,
Mm,
about. Uh, if a company, if a design team has a specialist as such as you,
hmm.
if the rest of the people, the rest of the team also do research, and the answer
Yeah,
is
yeah.
yes,
It
right?
depends on the company. I've seen companies that say no, only UX researchers do research.
Oh, okay.
But at Loft, and what I believe is that everyone should do research because it's so
Okay.
empowering and so you learn so much from it, from talking one by one with users. So
Hmm.
everyone should do it, and it's
Okay.
important. And to be a product designer, you should know at least a little bit about everything. I don't believe in unicorns, but you
Me
have
neither.
to do at least like usability testing and some interviews and stuff. And then if you need any help, you ask a researcher to go along with you to help analyzing and stuff. But I think everyone should do research. Yeah. And yeah, some of the techniques are mostly done by UX designers or product
Okay.
designers. Like usability testing mostly is for product designers. But when you're talking about uh, a big study, a profile, customer profile study, or a persona study, is usually
Hmm.
conducted by researchers, because it takes longer and it's
Hmm.
harder to find the time between sprints and stuff. So UX
Interesting.
design. Yeah.
So you have to go through different departments and find the correct time windows in order for you to deliver the results of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
researches.
yeah. But the difference between there are many differences, of course, but UX designer, product designer, that usually works along with. I'm talking about startups because that's the thing I know, but I think I know people
Me
work
too.
in other ways in different companies. Okay, but
Yeah.
talking about a startup, so then you have a UX designer, which works as a pair with a product manager, and they have to
Hmm.
deliver. They have a team that needs to be
Yeah.
not they need things to do, so you have to prototype and give them handoffs and pages to do whatever. But as a UX researcher, you don't necessarily have the same time frame to work with,
Hmm.
so you can take longer to do research. It's not like longer 6 months. It's like 3 weeks. I don't have just don't have to do it every week, like to keep delivering stuff. So it gives you the opportunity to go deeper into
Hmm.
teams, and most of the time not as deep as we wished, but
Yeah.
good enough.
Yeah. This is reality, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We
Yeah.
work with the time we have. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to think, Elisa, that a researcher such as you comes along only when a product designer or UX designer doesn't know what to do,
Hmm.
or is he's afraid of finding out something else that he's not supposed
Yeah.
to, or
Yeah.
or he or she just don't know what to do,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm.
So when do you
That
do
could
you
be the
think is
case.
the time? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So when
that
do
could be
you
the
think
case
in
as well.
most cases, what
Yeah.
happens? What is the tipping point between where a product designer stops and then a
Yeah.
specialist like you comes in?
I'm going to go with it depends, which is
Okay.
the answer we use,
Easy answer.
but I'll explain
Okay.
further. So it depends because, well, for example, I work with a team when we have many squads. Like
Okay.
I don't know how many designers are working my team. Like let's say 8, and some of them have experience doing research, others
Hmm.
don't. Some of them are senior designers that they usually know what they do and they just do it by themselves. And others, they don't have that many experience and then I just go with the design manager and say, oh, which which ones do you think they need more help in this? And I go, oh, this one not so good. Da, da, da. Then I give them more attention than I would give the senior one, the guy that does it all by himself or by herself. So, so it depends. Some we have some designers at Loft. They are practically researchers, and I would like to give them a badge, honorary researcher, and they are so good. Like Frank here is an honorary researcher. I think he's here at the chat.
Frank. Hey,
Yeah,
buddy. Hello, Frank.
he would be one of them. And yeah, we also have UX designers that were researchers before and then became generalists. It gives
Okay.
them an extra power at strategy, understanding issues, understanding users and problems before they go to design. So it's a superpower, I think, knowing how to do research. Yeah.
Well, and
And
and like
I forgot
Frank, like you
I forgot the
mentioned,
question. Yeah. What was the question again?
that the exact point, or in most
Yeah,
cases, the
yeah.
point between when the product designer or UX designer goes off, and
Mm-hmm.
then the specialist comes in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it depends. It's a very tricky question. It's very not that easy to answer. So it
Yeah.
depends on the experience the product designer has. Some of them don't need any help at all. It
Okay.
depends on the size of the problem to tackle, to understand and to investigate. So if it's too difficult to understand,
Hmm.
and if it's too broad and it involves a
Hmm.
lot of teams, maybe the user researcher should tackle it, should go into it, because we try to define in terms of impact, and how many people, how many teams are going to be impacted by this, and how hard it is to do it on a daily basis while working with a squad. Is it easy for them to do it, or should we help? Is this really a priority in the company? Is this one of the main OKRs? So there are many things to consider when we try to say, oh, this is for the UX researcher, this is for the designer. But sometimes we just choose the wrong projects. It happens. Sometimes you think, oh, this is really important, and then the company changes, and it's not important anymore, and then whatever. So I did it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's tough, but we are getting the hang of it, I think. Yeah.
Nice. Let me ask you one more thing, Elisa,
Mm,
before we move on.
okay.
When it comes to having space to work,
Mm,
not physical space, of course,
okay. Mhm.
how would you say that the routine is when you tell people, hey, I need more time to this? Don't do anything before I come with the what I have to discover.
Mhm.
How do you manage the
I don't know.
how do you it's hard, right?
It's hard. It's really hard, and yeah. Um, I don't. The thing is to get buy-in from the leadership.
Hmm.
And once you've shown the leadership what you can do with a project, and then you say,
Hmm.
"Oh, this is a really interesting topic. I think we should go deeper into this. It will take me a while, but I'll give you this, 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 this. This is the impact I think I'm going to deliver." And sometimes you just don't ask permission and you just go and do it. Sometimes you
Yeah.
have to do it as a freelance job. We, when
Inside the
sometimes you
company,
yeah, inside the company. And
like a secret agent.
another way to think about this is I've had moments when I had like, oh, this project is going to take like a month. That's too much. Okay, but I'll deliver impact and results before 1 month. If you come and
Hmm.
watch the research and you see the users using the product and you watch the interviews, you already have the information, some of the information. And then we do a discussion after 5 or 6 interviews. You have results already. You have things to work with. And then you go and you design whatever you want to design. And then I'll just go and do the report by myself and work on it and do the analysis. And then I'll come back with more results, with more detail, with more information in insight. So um, I think we have to understand companies in that sense. I don't think they need to wait for us to do research. We have to try and
Mhm.
adapt to the time we have. Sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's 2 weeks, and we do whatever we can with that
Yeah,
time,
so
right?
it's like people say, it's
Mm.
better for us to apologize than to ask permission, right?
Yes. Yes.
First, you come with the result, and then you tell people what you did,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
In
Sometimes
most cases, it
that's the
should
way
work.
to start. Yeah. Yeah. I had a client in the past. They didn't. I used to work as a consultant like 10 years ago, and some clients they would only pay for wireframes, and I like
Hmm.
wireframes. I did love doing wireframes, and I have a tattoo here of a piece of a
Of a
wire.
wireframe.
It's just a piece, a
Well,
placeholder. We don't use that anymore in wireframes, but I did love this. Anyway,
it's vintage.
yeah. So, but I was a researcher already. I say I'm not doing just wireframes, and I did research on out of my pocket just to show him how important that was. And it was
Hmm.
so much better for him to understand what I was trying to build and why we were taking those decisions. And it, it was good. I worked extra time. Yeah, didn't get
Definitely.
paid, but I totally conquered the client.
Oh my
It
god.
was so
Yeah.
worth it. Yeah.
Elisa, there's an example of this, guys, that I'd
Hmm.
like to mention here. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
in a certain point, Elisa, I was reading an article that said that a huge company in Brazil,
Mm.
huge company, I can't
Mm.
tell which one it is. They hired a consultancy to do a specific research.
Mm.
Okay, they were thinking about rebranding completely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they were a little blind on the consequences of this decision. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so for example, if I have 1,000 stores, okay, let's
Mm.
take to Starbucks. If
Okay.
Starbucks today decides to rebrand, how many signs, physical signs, they have to replace in a certain period of time, in
Mm.
order just to rebrand. I want
Mm.
to upgrade my brand. And
Okay.
companies, in most cases, they can't, go to the final number and then make a decision. So in that case, a huge consultancy design company was hired,
Mm.
to rebrand.
Okay.
And the first phase of the project was the research,
Mm.
of course, right? And then the guys went there and spoke to everyone, and then they went to the streets. They
Mm-hmm.
went after people, the clients, the users, and then they talked to people. And the results of the research was don't rebrand. Like 2 or 3 months later, the
Yeah.
consultancy said,
Do
"You're
it.
not gonna rebrand. You
Yeah.
hired me to rebrand, but this piece of paper here tells us don't rebrand. You have no idea what you're messing with.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
won't have the money, to do everything
Mm.
that has to be done. It's too risky for the users not to recognize your product. You know, amongst any other a lot of other topics. So the deliverable of the research team was amazing. They came with
That's
a
really brave.
decision.
Yeah.
Don't rebrand. Yeah, so
Yeah.
this is design in my
Yeah.
perspective,
Totally. Yeah.
right? This
Yeah.
is also design. There was no Figma, guys. No
No.
Webflow, no whatsoever, no tools.
Mhm.
No CSD matrix, nothing.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know
And totally. And sometimes doing research is like delivering bad news. And as a
exactly.
consultant,
Yeah.
you put yourself in a place where you're trusted. So sometimes it's easier to deliver this bad news. But when I was working at my first consulting company, I was really, it was just usability, mainly usability testing and stuff. And my, and was, I was really into finding problems. This is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And my boss said, just look into let's say issues for at first. We would call this ocorrências in Portuguese, issues in
Okay.
English. Don't say problems, you say issues. And
Oh
she
my god.
said you should look into good things as well. Just don't punch the client in the face. To say something good, and then you say all the problems, and something good in the end. And it was really
Nice.
important for me because
Yeah.
I was just into finding problems and finding bad issues and bad stuff, and it's hard to deliver these results to clients, and it's really brave to say just don't do it. And I have to say it's much easier to do this when you're a consultant outside the company than inside the company, because uh, I sometimes think consultants are more respected because you just pay them to do this and to hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of jokes in the internet, all right? It's about consultancies
Yeah.
because they in the bad way, because they sometimes wear the cape of the
Hmm.
magicians. They can
Yeah.
solve any problem, and then they
Hmm.
come with a solution that is not completely impossible to implement.
Yeah.
And they leave the company. Oh, this is a solution for you, and then they go out. They get
Yeah,
off.
that's the thing.
You
They
know.
don't have the context of
Yeah.
how we're going
Yeah.
to do this
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
constraints and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a very comfortable position. I love to be being a consultant because you just do this, whatever. I don't care. Bye bye,
Yeah.
and you
It's
just
easy.
go.
If you don't have to implement,
Yeah, it's super
it
easy.
becomes very easy, right?
Yeah.
We have a question here, Elisa.
Okay.
Let's answer Claudio. Hello,
Okay.
Claudio. How much time spent on research normally? How much
Oh, it
time people
depends.
are used to spend in research? I
So
know it depends. I know, but
it depends. It
give us an
totally
example.
depends. I'll give you an example, of course.
Yeah,
And let's. It depends on the type of research and
for MVP.
for an
Forgot to mention
MVP.
this. Yeah, for an
Mm.
MVP.
So
It's quite
you
something.
probably mean research to validate an MVP or maybe to create an MVP.
Hmm.
It could be like forever. When I had a startup, a usability testing startup called Tester, and we were continuously doing research and to understand if we were on the right way or and stuff. But let's say a research project. Uh, Usability testing would take like 2 to 3 weeks, and user interviews maybe a little bit more, maybe 3 4 weeks. But 3 weeks would be the most.
Hmm.
Most of the projects I've done are like 3 weeks because we have 1 week to understand the issues you're trying to go for and to create the script, the questions, the research questions, and to recruit. And then 1 week to talk to people, another week to analyze. Yeah, that's qualitative research, right? If you're doing quanti, I don't know, maybe the same, around the same. Yeah, but we don't have the phases as well defined as that. It depends. Yeah, like 3 to 4 weeks. But you can always do it faster if you don't need a report in the end. So if you're a designer doing the research only for yourself, you can take like a week. If you have the users coming at you easily, you can do it like every week as a continuous research habit. You see,
Hmm.
if you're continuously talking to people, you just learn from them all the time. You keep learning and keep
Hmm.
improving your design. So you don't there's no time frame for research in that case.
Hmm.
See, but I had projects that took like 2 months at most. Some people
Hmm.
say talk about projects they taking like 6 months, but I've never done those.
My
6 months
God.
is a lot. Yeah, I haven't had the privilege to do so.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a question, Elisa.
Yeah.
Before we move on here, Martha is commenting here. Love it. You hired me to not rebrand. Love how impactful this field can be. Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
I'd love to hear that also. You know. So my question is, Elisa, when it comes to your deliverables, all right,
Hmm.
you guys come with a diagnosis only, and then this is the result of the research, or you have to come up with a action plan.
Mm,
One thing is a doctor say, hey, you're sick.
yeah.
Another thing is you have to buy this medicine, and then you take 3 times a day, and then after 1 week you're
Yeah.
gonna feel a little better. Okay,
Yeah.
so
That.
there's a huge difference there, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So you guys are used to only diagnose and also have a plan of action, because you mentioned the reports, right? So
Mhm.
after the discoveries, you have to tell people about the discovery.
To
How
do
do you do
something.
that? Is
Yeah.
this a PDF presentation, PPT
Yeah.
presentation, a
Yeah.
live presentation?
Yeah. One of the things we discuss a lot is how it's not just doing research, it's working for the research you've done having impact on the company, on the clients, and on the people who need to talk about it. So we're not just doing research. Sometimes we have a strategy on how to to share this with people. Sometimes we just do slides. Sometimes we talk to them. Sometimes we do nice charts and stuff. We have
Mm-hmm.
research pills at Loft, which I love. It's been a while since I've done one. It's like just one page, one slide page, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very like what's no? It's very like I forgot the word even in Portuguese. Oh, it's too late
Oh
for
my
me.
God! Try Spanish,
No,
Japanese,
no,
German.
no. It's like a tabloid-like thing, uh, users don't like this at all, and it's like an insight inside the
Mm-hmm.
pill. It's a quick insight, research insight, just to get people talking about it, and then you have a link to the full research. It's a good thing we do here. But I'm sorry, I forgot the question. We were talking about
The diagnosis and the
the
plan of action.
diagnosis. I'm sorry. So
Yeah.
there's a discussion on this, and I have friends that worked on consulting companies. They said some people say, as a consultant, you should not suggest things because you don't have the context. So any
Mm.
suggestion you make will be just like random, uninformed, and you just diagnose and you show the usability issues, show the results of the research. But some people do make suggestions, and I think it's good because even though you don't have the context, that I'm talking about consultancy, okay? I'll talk about startups later. And even though you don't have the context, you have previous experience. You should, as a designer, you have lived, and you know stuff, and you even if they don't take this into account, I think it's good if you make a suggestion, and and like showing opportunities for improvement. In a startup, I think we should always suggest an action plan from this.
Mhm.
So I've learned this, and what are the next steps? What do we suggest the company do?
Exactly.
Sometimes it's not actually like prototyping the solution.
Mm.
Sometimes it's just uh, asking the right questions. What about how can we do this? What about this issue? Should tackle into this? We should go further into that. And and these are the most. I think it's a really important part. We don't do this all the time. We don't get to it. Just describing the results, it's really good. It's very good enough. But we should always look into making the research have the right impact and
Mm.
really changing the product. And the dream is to
Mhm.
change the roadmap, right? And to
Yeah,
making research as important as to influence the whole company the next year and so on. But if we influence the product, that's really good.
that's quite something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice. Listen, before I forget, guys, I
Mm,
have a huge announcement to make. Okay, we promised in the Instagram that we were telling you guys about a surprise at this live event. Okay, so stick around, don't go, because later today, in a few minutes, I'm gonna tell you a surprise, something that we are cooking here in the Deploy Labs. Okay, Flavio knows about this; he's part of this, So stay put, stick around, don't go. We're gonna talk about this. The
cool.
next, the next matter here is how to become a UX researcher, right? There are
Mm,
many paths that people can
okay.
come from. In most cases, as far as I can tell, I see people coming from different areas, people migrating to UX.
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
become a researcher. But I'm not saying this is wrong. Actually, this is amazing.
No,
You
it's
know,
awesome. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I love it
So
that we
tell us
have.
a little about this.
Yeah. Well, when I started in 2005, there were no UX research courses, and most of the people I knew working with usability and UX design were journalists. I don't know why.
Wow.
my my first job was my first boss was a journalist. My friends were journalists. Some of them. There was another one that did PR, and the other was a designer. But there were many people from communication doing this because
Hmm.
journalism doesn't take you that far. The
Yeah.
school, I mean. So most of my friends from school got to do other stuff afterwards. But it gives you an idea of how to interviewing users and investigating stuff. That curiosity we have as journalists, it takes you somewhere. But I don't know. I really like being in an area that we have people from a diverse perspective. We have people from design. I have there's a girl in Brazil, Carol. She did molecular biology, something like that. So it's
What?
yeah, she did. She's
Oh my
different.
God.
Yeah. So how to become a UX design, a UX researcher? You said.
Yeah.
Um, Most people nowadays, I've seen most people coming from UX design to
Hmm.
UX research, which is really good
Yeah.
because as a UX researcher, it's nice to know a little bit about all this stuff as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very specialized, and sometimes I don't think that's a very good thing. I've been working with
Hmm.
UX research for such a long time that I'm not very good at Figma. I don't know much of anything else. And it's not a very good strategy. I think it's best if you know some content design, some UX design, and you
Hmm.
delve deeper into what you like the best. So coming from
Yeah.
UX design, it's a really good way. But I'm also seeing people coming from communication, which is
Hmm.
totally cool. Psychology, even better. I think it's
People
really nice.
from, yeah,
Hmm?
and people from customer service and quality. Do you see?
Yeah, yeah. One of the people who
Yeah.
works with me, Lua, she used to be CX, and it's really cool
Wow. Yeah.
because it's very similar to her job, right? And
Yeah.
and they already know how to deal with customers, how to talk to them, how to get their feedback and insights. So it's really important. So it's one of the our main allies here at Loft. And well, the the challenge is how to migrate. But because when you don't have much experience being a UX researcher, you have to migrate. But if you started as a UX designer, you were supposed to do some research, right?
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
just put some
Yeah.
emphasis into it,
Hmm.
and you could just mold your portfolio to show more
Hmm.
of user research. And as we said, just don't ask for permission, just start doing research, even if you're not supposed to, even if you're not asked to. And I think it's going to do a great job at showing how smart you are. If you do research, you're smarter than anyone else. That's
And then you have, and then I think there's always that story, right, Elisa, that
mm,
if you don't listen to the UX researcher, okay,
mhm,
keep in mind that in some point of history,
mm,
1 week from now, 1 month from now, things are gonna go wrong because they didn't listen, and
mm.
then you have the report that tells I told you.
Yeah,
Right. So
yeah,
to
yeah,
have the power to say I told you, and you didn't listen, I think this is the secret power of a UX researcher, right?
yeah, yeah. We tried. Yeah, but sorry, just getting some more here.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm,
uh, Here at the play, Elisa, for like 1 year and a half ago, we hired some people to do
mhm,
some discovery work,
mhm.
and we were very blind on the way we were doing things out in
Yeah.
our platform. We
Huh.
thought the world of it. Oh, this platform is amazing. This is the best platform that it is in the market today.
Ah,
I have no competitors, and and then people come and say, man, I have to say you're wrong. Okay, you haven't even done your homework, man. You don't even know your competitors well. I
hmm,
know you're specific. The guy said, "Yeah, I know you're specific, which is good." Okay, because
hmm,
there are a lot of HR consultancies around, the universe.
mhm,
But specifically for UX design, there are a few. Okay,
mm,
so it's good for a company to be very specific in some area, but
mhm,
still, it's a huge context. It's a huge scenario which you know nothing about.
mm.
Imagine
Yeah,
hearing something like this from a UX researcher, you know.
yeah, yeah.
But the
Yeah,
guys, the guys did it in a good way, Elisa. I'm not
yeah.
saying that it was hell. It was not, because as we are a startup, such as
Mm,
the company that you work for, which is Loft, uh, you expect people from a startup, from this context, to accept reality,
mhm.
because startups
Yeah, yeah,
they have this kind of mindset, but uh, it doesn't happen in every corner, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, totally. It's so important to hear these things and to be open to hear this sort of thing, right?
Yeah,
It's like a slap in the face, but
yeah.
it's really important. I have a story about that. It's so easy to get caught up in an idea that sometimes it takes you a long time to realize it's not a
That
very
it
good
is a
one.
terrible idea.
Yeah, sometimes it's a good idea,
Yeah.
but you don't have the market to it. So when I
Yeah.
started my company, it's like 2005, we were like so excited. We were going to create a Brazilian user testing, usertesting.com. We wanted to do a Brazilian version, and we wanted to do it better with the cam recording camera, and with the video, with the audio. It was going to be great, amazing. The product was really good. We were very proud of it. We just forgot about having a market. We didn't have a big market to start with. And I always thought, no, I'm a researcher. I know how to do this. I'm gonna talk to people, and everyone was so like, "Wow, this is amazing! This is awesome! You're gonna get so rich!" And there was, I was just so eager
Uh,
to find
yeah.
confirmation for my idea that I only saw the good things out of it. And I was
Mhm.
interviewing friends and people I knew, and everyone was so happy and say, "No, this is going to be awesome." That I forgot to interview the people who were going to pay for the thing, not the people who are going to use the thing, that were
Yeah.
very excited. And after like 4 years, we got stuck. We had we had clients, but we were not growing, and people were not
Mhm.
even using the product because there were other priorities. Like it's sad to hear, but we were doing a user research platform, and whenever they were restructuring any company, user research, poof, they just stopped doing it
Wow.
because it was not a priority. And yeah, so it's really important that you got the opportunity to hear from a company that you were not doing so well and to readjust the
Hmm.
way you're going to, and the
Yeah.
sooner the better. It
Okay.
took me 4 years, but they were very good 4 years. We got a lot of prizes when we traveled. We learned a lot, but still, fail fast, right?
Yeah. Fail fast.
Mhm.
This is a mantra, This
Yeah,
is a
it
motto, a
should be.
motto
Yeah, we
for
should
for
be eager
startups.
to fail, to invalidate stuff, to
Yeah.
discover
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
faster, right?
So it is. I have another question for you.
Hmm.
In order to get a job, I know
Yeah,
that you told us that you help the company to hire more UX researchers, right? So
yeah.
what exactly do you value when it
Mm-hmm,
comes to recruiting? Not the process of recruiting, such as
mm-hmm,
we do, but
mm-hmm.
say that what exactly do you expect to see in a portfolio, in a UX researcher portfolio?
Okay, cool. Um,
Yeah.
One of the things I actually value the most is sparkle in the
The
eyes
sparkle.
when people talk about research,
Yeah.
because I'm so excited about research. When I actually did 2 interviews today, and they were the best moment of my day, even though I was sick. I was so happy talking to people and seeing things happen. So if I talk to a person and I don't see the sparkle, and there's the fake sparkle
Mm,
as well, when people say, "Oh, I'm a people person. I love talking to people," and blah, blah. That's not about talking to people. Research is about investigating stuff. You don't need to be an extroverted and talkative and people person to do research. You have to be a curious person to do research. And I look into the motivations people go for research. Uh, so in a portfolio, it's really nice to see uh, a diverse set of projects. And I really like
mm,
when people explain their cases and what was the briefing they got, how they structured it, what went wrong. It's also really good to understand what went wrong because many times it goes wrong. You
yeah.
don't find the right users. You can't
Hmm.
recruit. And how do you deal with that? So here at
Yeah.
Loft, we usually ask people to present a case they've done in the past, which is like going through a portfolio in a sense. And we
Hmm.
always ask about what went wrong in this, what was your role in this, what did you do, and what went wrong, and how did you solve this thing? And I think
Hmm.
it's just telling this story, but sometimes the story is so perfect, we just understand how did you manage to go through the bad things. So this is
Hmm.
important as well. What did you learn from this? And yeah, I think it's the main thing we look into it, and the sparkle.
Yeah, yeah, this part. All right.
Yeah.
So, guys, if there is someone here searching for a UX researcher job, you got the tips, right? First, sparkle in the eyes,
Hmm.
shiny eyes, and then you know the
Yeah.
indicators that show the diversity in your vision, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Nice. There's a question here for you, Elisa, from Mars, from another planet. Can you give some tips from people that want to start on the field now in Portugal?
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm not working in Portugal yet. I'm working in Brazil. So I think the main step for you now is to get involved with the community. So if you're I don't know if you identify as a woman or as a man, Mars. But if you're a lady, you can come into
Interact with
the
the
ladies at
ladies.
UX.
Yeah.
Yes, and but we are also going to meetups and stuff, and meeting people. It's a good way to start, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, uh, um, I'm going to say this. We are working at a research about the market in Portugal. We are trying
Wow.
to, yeah, yeah. I've been conducting this as a side project at latest.ux. We want to understand better what are the opportunities and the companies that do it and the kind of jobs people have. So might help, but it's still starting. So I don't know when it's going to be done, but it might help you.
Nice. Yeah, I always say that being part of the community is, the secret
Yeah,
ingredient to the next step. You
yeah.
you gotta get yourself known from people around you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So because
Sometimes all it takes it's knowing the right person
yeah,
and you
yeah,
go. And it's
this yeah.
yeah, and sometimes it's hard to get the first job and then you go. After the first job, you're done. But getting the
Yeah.
first job it might be hard. So it's easier if you just start seeing people and you know someone that vouches for you, that takes you
Yeah.
to places and to introduce you to the right stuff, to the right
Hmm.
people, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I would say, Elisa, that as there is a myth between the UXers that
Mm.
only big teams, big design teams, have room for UX researcher. Okay, so
Ah,
imagine
yeah.
the scenario. Okay, I already have a UI guy. I already
Mm-hmm.
have interaction designer. I
Mm-hmm.
already have a UX designer and all those guys, and then and only then I have room or I have space for a UX researcher, which
Mm,
is quite right?
yes,
Because
it
it
is.
is it is as important as the UI design or the other disciplines
Yeah,
under the UX umbrella. So I'd say, Mars, that every company needs a UX researcher.
yeah. I would
And
love to
then
say that, but that's not what happens in reality,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately no.
When I had my own startup, we were one of the few startups that have designers as founders.
Yeah,
And the first people they would hire were developers, and then developers, and then developers, and then another developer, then a designer, and UX researcher comes a long time after that.
yeah.
And as uh, our company, our customers were researchers, and usually you have a UX researcher when you have like five UX designers, and that's okay. That's the truth. When you start with a generalist that will do everything, and once you have that established, the maturity, then you need a researcher, a specialist, and anyway. So that's true. That's why you have so many UX designers and not so many UX researchers and service
Hmm.
designers, and that's okay. Yeah,
Yeah, because this kind of information, Elisa, can guide people where to find a job.
yeah,
So if in
yeah.
every case, in every scenario, only huge companies with
Hmm.
more mature teams are
Yeah,
after a UX researcher, that's where you should look
that's
instead
why
of
you
going to a startup with 2 or 3 people.
totally,
That they
totally.
are they are
Yeah,
never going to listen to you.
yeah, yeah.
You know?
And sometimes, and the thing is, for a person who wants to start a career in UX research, the best place to go would be a place where there are other researchers. Then you have to go to an even bigger
Mm,
company, you see? Because
yeah,
it's very common to see a company with one UX researcher that does the job of research and helping other people when doing research ops all together, which is cool. You learn a lot from it, and I've done that before, and it's okay, but you
hmm,
don't have someone to guide you, and
hmm,
it's tougher, right? But
yeah. So
um
this is a starting point, right? So
yeah,
the
it's a
first
very
first
good
thing
one.
of all, Mars,
Yeah.
is for you to imagine the scenario. Okay, you wake up in just another Thursday, like today. Go get yourself into LinkedIn, discover a company which has a design team with a UX researcher or more than one UX researcher, and then try.
Yeah.
This is a good indicator. Find a company that already have at least one UX researcher.
Hmm.
And then
And
most of the job it's already done, and maybe the company is in the right moment to hire someone else because there's a lot of work, right?
yeah,
There's always a lot of work.
yeah, it just try a wish list, and you go for the companies with the bigger teams of UX researchers. If you can't find those, go with the smaller teams, and you can't find those, go with the ones that want to hire the first one, and it
Yeah.
won't be easy for you, but you'll learn a lot. And we, as someone who has recruited UX researchers in the past, I really value people that have been in that role of the only UX researcher, because I know how hard that
Mm.
is, and
Yeah.
they learn a lot from it, and they need to do a lot of stuff they haven't done before, and it's important. Everyone has been through that, so that's the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. Lisa, last question. We are almost time
Last
up,
question.
right?
Okay. Okay.
We're almost there. We have, oh my God, we have 1 minute. Guys, don't forget that we both are sick, right? We got
Yeah.
the Portuguese flu, and then we are, after the live is
Just
over,
flew.
we are gonna crash and maybe wake up in Sunday,
I
right?
hope so.
last question, Elisa.
Mm.
Uh, should everyone do research?
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. Yeah. Now, not everyone agrees on this, but
Well,
I think so. And um the thing is, sometimes can you do research and get the wrong answers? Yes. even
Mm,
even like that, I think it's important that everyone tries to do research. If you have a UX researcher to help you understand
mhm.
what you're doing right, what you could do better, and even better. But I think
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
should try to do research, and it's important. You cannot expect a UX researcher to do everything for you.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's good. Yeah, I think so.
So every designer should also be a researcher, right?
Yes. Yeah, totally.
Okay,
Mhm.
nice, nice. Guys, time for the surprise. So I told you to stick around to get to know about this. Okay, this is fresh. This is totally new. I invite you all to come to this address right here, right now. Okay, you're gonna see something like this. Yeah, finally, Deploy is launching an original course about the portfolio, the UX portfolio with purpose, from theory to practice. Right? So this is huge, guys. This is the first time that Deploy launches something like this. We've done a lot of different stuff throughout our existence, but never ever a special course. Okay, so this is a recorded course. I'm counting on my lovely partner Flavio Santana is one of the professors alongside with me. Okay, so that's the amazing news for you. Okay, so I cannot tell you exactly when the course is going to be launched. Okay, but it's let's say that it's coming. It's not so far from today. Okay, so if
Cool.
you are interested in learning more about what's the purpose of having a UX design portfolio, even before thinking about having a portfolio, you have to understand why, when, for what, for whom. There's a lot of things that we'd love to discuss with you that comes from our experience on evaluating professionals. Okay, we do this all the time, guys. So we have so much good information to share about what are the expectations from the market, from the companies, especially nowadays where every almost every company in the tech industry is laying off people, you
Yeah.
know, and the portfolio has a huge part in the next step of your career. Okay, so
Yeah.
if you don't have an impactful portfolio, you are a few steps behind everybody else. Okay, so guys, this is a pain. I know we know Elisa is a designer. I am a designer myself. I'm every designer I know. I'm also lazy. I put this kind of stuff to do 1 month from now. Oh, this weekend I'm gonna invest time for my portfolio, and then the time never comes, right, Elisa?
Hmm.
So this is a cycle that never ends. I know how hard it is, but I also know the huge impact that it can make in your career.
Hmm.
Okay, so the idea of the course is to help everyone who is interested in understanding deeply how to build that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of questions, in the air, right, Elisa? I am a
Yeah.
UX researcher. What should I put in my portfolio? I am a design leader. I don't have Figma to show in my portfolio. What exactly can I
Yeah.
show in my portfolio? There's a
That's a
lot
good
of
one.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is $1 million question, right, Elisa? That we get a lot, you know, because we tell people that the people that are part of our selection
Mm.
processes, you know, 90% of the people that we go through with our selection processes don't have
Mm.
a portfolio.
Yeah.
Even either the
That's
portfolio
a lot.
doesn't exist or it doesn't have any, the content of the portfolio doesn't have
Mm.
anything to do with UX.
Mm.
It's yeah, it's sad. It's it's very sad. And we
Mm.
have, numbers,
Mm.
guys, to show you, to prove
Mm.
our thesis that there's a huge problem there, and how the portfolio can be of a great assistance when it
Mm.
comes to
Mm.
the next step. So there's a lot of things that we love to share. But for now, I invite you all to go to this link. And if you are interested, fill up the form. Our people will read with next steps. Okay. But stay put, stay alert, because we're going to be talking about this subject for the whole February, and then I'll let you know all the next steps.
Well, that's a
Okay.
very good team. I get this question a lot when I do mentorship and stuff, and I usually don't know how to answer
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah.
And actually, one of the things you said, how do you build a portfolio when you're a leader? Something because some of my work, it's not the impact of my work is not my deliverables. It's empowering the deliverables of others and being
Exactly.
happy with
Yeah.
the work of others, right? So
Yeah.
what do I have to show? What's
Yeah.
what's
It's a
my
collective
role?
result. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Exactly.
harder, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Completely. But still, Lisa, we have information because regarding recruitment,
Mhm.
because we have access to companies.
Yeah.
So we have meetings and meetings and meetings with companies after people that are looking for people just like you that
Yeah.
that is watching us right now, or even if you're watching this later. uh, we know what people are after, and
Cool.
we are used to work to recruit uh, different maturity levels,
Cool.
from junior designers to lead designers. And there, guys, there's no magic. It's every company has its own context, its own scenario. Okay, it's not the same for everyone. It's not the same for every country. I can tell, Elisa can
Mm,
tell the differences
mm,
between Portugal and Brazil. They are huge.
mm,
So something that is good in Portugal is not doesn't work in Brazil, and
mm.
vice versa.
Yeah.
So all that we can offer is our collected vision on what we do, what we've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years.
Cool.
Okay, which is gold. I can tell that this is gold. This is very good. You don't get access to this kind of information anywhere else. That's what I can tell. Okay, so stay put, stay alert. Uh, Follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn, and we are talking about this throughout the February. Okay, until next month. All right, Elisa, your last 10 cents, and then we are all set.
Okay.
Give us your last 10 cents.
My last that's Saint Timus. So, um, yeah, it's really fun to be a UX researcher, but don't be fooled. It's not just talking to people. It's not just like being, wow, I'm talking to people, I'm seeing how they most a lot of the times it's just by yourself, understand understanding data. You have to work with quantitative data and it's not so glamorous, but I love it as well. And but it's totally worth it when you get the insight, when you find new things and you have an impact on the company, on the designer, and it's very enlightening. It's really fun. And another tip is that you don't have to be an extroverted person to do research. I'm very introverted, so it's really actually
Mhm.
really good to be. I think it's a superpower, the introversion actually, because you learn how to listen more than you talk, and for user research, this is really good. So you get comfortable with the silence, and it's very important. It helps you a lot, actually. You don't have to be an introverted as well, but you anyway, you got the thing. And
Yeah,
that's it. Some things you just learn by practice, and just put yourself out there and start talking to people and see how that goes. Some of like how do you moderate user interviews? How do you do focus groups? Many things. There's the theory, but sometimes you just have to learn by practice. Yeah, just go and do it. Don't ask for permission.
nice. I'm putting together here in the banners, citizen. You just have to be curious and investigative, right?
That's cool. Thank you.
Nice. Okay. All right, guys. So I'd like to thank you all for coming tonight. It was a
You.
pleasure to have you all here. Elisa, thanks again for accepting our invitation. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. I'm sure everyone here learned a lot from you. Okay, so this is it, guys. Thanks again. Have a nice evening in Brazil. I think people are, melting in the summer,
Yeah.
while we are, freezing here in Portugal in the coldest winter in history, right,
Thank
Elisa?
you so much, Portugal, for this.
Yeah. This is a surprise, when you move from countries to countries, you can tell the difference. The weather is severe, right? I
Yeah.
can tell now why so much Brazilians, go crazy when they move to Canada, for example. This,
Yeah, that's
you know,
when I was choosing where to go, I considered Canada, but no, the winter. I
yeah,
cannot deal
yeah,
with that. No, it's too much.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
So people are being nice here, Elisa. It was a pleasure to meet you, Elisa. Thank you.
oh, thank
Wow.
you.
Claudio, he mentioned another thing here.
Mm.
Okay, it's amazing to understand you. My English is coming. Yeah, yes, Claudio,
Yeah.
that's the idea.
Cool, cool.
You can tell that we are not perfect in English, right? We have
We're
so much to
struggling.
learn. So
I
yeah,
feel like a
this is,
60-year-old.
yeah, it's very hard, okay, but still we are trying, right? So don't be afraid. The English is already there. It's not the English is coming. It's already there.
Yeah.
You just have to pull it off. you know Put yourself in a situation like this, where you have nowhere else to go but speak English, right,
Yeah.
Elisa?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Just
the
like
fear
recently.
the fear goes away in time, right? All right, guys. Thanks again. Have a nice evening, and I'll see you in the next live. Bye
Okay.
bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mao.
No problem. Bye bye.